Over the past 3 years, I have been very critical and hesitant towards modern Pokemon. Sword and Shield was the game to start this. Such an unfinished, rushed game that was too easy even by Pokemon standards, and I didn't even bother with the Isle of Armor or the Crystal Tundra DLC yet. Then we got the Gen 4 remakes Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which are the exact same game as the originals on DS, but the visuals didn't look good, finicky controls, and there were so many glitches that made the game feel unfinished, which didn't help that it was developed by a new company since Game Freak was working on both Legends Arceus and Scarvio. After I saw the reveal trailer for Pokemon Scarlet, I knew for a fact this was just gonna be the same story as the other games after Black and White. It's not gonna look good, it's not gonna be well optimized for the console, it's gonna have some sort of controversy. But that doesn't matter since this game is gonna sell gangbusters like it always does. Then when my brother came over for winter break and I saw some of the game and it looked awful and knew for a fact that this game was not good, just at looking at the pop-in, graphical glitches, and awful performance. This was when I was working on the problem with modern Pokemon video. I was looking to a friend and he said you should have played Scarlet before making that video and took your time with it. I thought about what he said for a month, and when I was looking at my local retro game store's website that there was a used copy of Scarlet available, so that meant I could give my thoughts on this game and give an update to my thoughts on the Pokemon Company while not giving them my money, so it's a win-win situation. So I played the game to the end and did multiplayer with some friends, and now I can say for a fact that I didn't like this game at all. I think that Game Freak bit off more than they could chew with the amount of time they had, and this game still has problems in the modern Pokemon video I posted a few months ago, but there are a few things that I did like in this game, making it the better mainline games on the Switch. So let's talk about it. The game opens with the box art Pokemon flying through the Paldea region and then crashes into you. Then we meet you as we are getting ready for our first day of school. We meet the headmaster of the academy, Claval. I'm just gonna call him Claval, cause that's how I know him as. Anyway, Claval, the headmaster of the academy, who wants to meet with us outside. Claval shows us the starters of this generation: Sprigato, the grass cat Pokemon, Fuecoco, the fire croc Pokemon, and Quaxley, the duckling Pokemon. This is when we meet Nemona, our rival, whose personality is battling and looking for Pokemon, and that's really it. You battle her, learn how to catch Pokemon, typical of the Pokemon series. It is then you hear it cry. You then find a Pokemon on a beach. You give it your food, and it then charges form. You follow it into a cave where you find Nemona. The Pokemon then saves you from a bunch of Houndour and a Houndoom. It's then we reach the lighthouse where we meet Arvin, who was once the trainer for this Pokemon, who is named Koraidon. You battle Arvin to see if you are worthy of Koraidon. You then go into the town where your school is, Mezagoza. You then find a group of kids bullying a girl with an Eevee backpack. We learn this to be Team Star, and you fight them to protect a kid who is named Penny. After wrecking their shit in, you go to the academy and get accommodated to your dorm room. Pneumonia recommends you go after the gym badges to become one of the strongest trainers. Arvin is looking for some special herbs that are protected by these giant Pokemon, and he asks you to help him. A random person hacks into your Rotom phone named Cassiopeia, who wants you to help her defeat Team Star to take them down for good. You also talk to Professor Seda as she wants you to take care of Koraidon. It is then that your treasure hunt begins and the game commences. The gameplay of Pokemon is what you come to expect of the series at this point. You grab the Mons and you fight the Mons, though we can go more deeper into the other stuff when we talk about the different stories in this game. Before the gameplay core, you can catch the Pokemon in Legends Arceus. You had the option to either catch the Pokemon or fight it in the wild, and it was something I thought was a benefit to that game. But in Scarlet and Violet, we are back to you need to throw your Pokemon at it or run it into it to battle it. On the plus side, you can't hit the Pokemon on the back to make it be surprised, which will give you a free turn. But I wanted more of the Legends Arceus differences to be in the newer Pokemon games, because it will feel natural in the universe of Pokemon. There's also new tetralization forms. I really don't know how to say that name, but we'll just go with that. that changes the gimmick of the gen. I used to think that it was Dynamax but more broken, but after playing the game and testing it out with friends, I think it's the best gimmick in the modern Pokemon games. When you Tetralyze, you change your type to that type that's been given or the type that has been caught, and it will stick to that type. Let me give you an example. My Archibald is a water fighting type. If I Tetralyze him, he will only be a water type and won't have the weaknesses that fighting types normally have, like flying and psychic. Tetralyzing also strengthens the move of the same type, which means that Archibald's Aqua Step is more powerful in terms of power. I see this gimmick as a very strategic one, and I am down for it. Now, since making a team is a thing in Pokemon games, I might as well show you my team. Archibald the Quaquaval. This is the only Pokemon I nicknamed in retrospect. He is a water fighting type with a high attack stat, and he became my physical sweeper of the team. With the moves, Aqua Step for the increased speed stat he gets if he hits, Aerial Ace for the grass type Pokemon, Feather Dance to lower the opponent's attack stat, and Low Sweep for lowering the opponent's speed stat. He became quite a useful starter to me. My Bostiff. She is a dark type with a high attack and defense stat, and he can take a hit more so than my other Pokemon on the team. She has the moves Reversal so that she can dish the damage at low health, Commupiscence, I don't know how to say that, to make the opponent suffer for hitting my precious dog, Outrage in case of a last resort and for dealing with dragon types, and Crunch Cut, it is the best Tark type move. She was not that good early game, but then came to her own when she evolved. One of my new favorite Pokemon. Lycanroc Dave form, a favorite Pokemon of mine. A rock type that is fast on his feet and can dish out the rock damage. Her moves were Accelerock for that high priority, Stealth Rock for any Volt Switchers or U-Turners in the team, Crunch cause, like I said, it's the best Dark type move, and Rock Slide for a chance to make the opponent flinch. Love you a lot, Lycanroc. Sylveon, another favorite Pokemon of mine. She is a fairy type with high special defense, special attack, and some good HP. Her moves are Moonblast since it's one of the best fairy types moves overall, Swift for the normal Tetralization form she has, and for being a good normal type special attack, Poke Shadow Ball to handle any psychic types, and Dragon for any healing that she needs. Love you a lot as well, Sylveon. Palmot, an electric fighting type that's a bitch to evolve, but a bitch with a mean punch with that high attack stat and high speed stat, making him a physical sweeper as well. He has the moves Double Shock to remove that electric type on him, which means that he's just a fighting type after that, Close Combat for that increased attack power, Wall Charge for some electric coverage, and Nuzzle for paralysis. He was really useful for most of the game and got me through the Poison Team Star Boss, probably the best Pikachu clone in terms of stats and abilities. And finally, Amaru, a fire psychic type of a high special attack stat and high defense stat. Her moves are Flamethrower since I didn't want to use Mystical Fire or Overheat, Armor Cannon for that high power, might change it to Will-O-Wisp depending on how I feel, Side Shock since it's one of the best psychic type moves, and Calm Mind for increased special defense and with increased special attack helping in its favor. Took a while for her to be useful, but damn was she worth it. Overall, I like the selection I have here and I wouldn't replace any of them. Now let's go on to the different stories of this game. Victory Road is typical of the Pokemon series. You get 8 gym badges, fight your rival every now and again, swap the Elite Four, fight the champion, and then fight your rival at the end. There really isn't much of a story in this, so I will be commenting on the gyms in this and giving you my overall thoughts on them. The first gym is the Bug Gym, with the gym challenge being that you need to push a giant ball that looks like an olive into a net and avoid the obstacles. I didn't really enjoy this one overall because the physics on the ball were a little jank and it was not all that challenging nor fun. It was just boring. Now, finding the gym was actually a little tough because, like I said before, the Tetralizing form is very strategic and can be given to other types of Pokemon, and it put me off guard for a bit because the Bug Gym uses a Teddiursa, but when it Tetralizes, it turns into a Bug type, so that had to change my strategy overall. Overall, the Bug Gym is a fine one. It's not that spectacular. The second gym is the Grass Gym, with the gym challenge being to find Tensaflora around a town, aka walk around town a lot. This was not fun whatsoever, and I wanted there to be some battling. The gym was a piece of cake and wasn't much of a threat overall. I didn't really enjoy this one at all. Next was the Electric Gym, with the gym challenge being a game of Where's Waldo, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't like playing Where's Waldo, and it wasn't as challenging as Where's Waldo. At least we have a battle after every game of Where's Waldo, which I quite like. The Grass Gym was a cakewalk as well, since I have my precious Lycanroc. The gym leader herself made me cringe, I am not gonna lie, and the point of the challenge was to get her more followers, and I didn't like that at all. Thumbs down for me. Next was the water gym, with the challenge being to give the gym leader his wallet, which was pretty funny, not gonna lie. But what you do is that you fight his apprentice, who was really hard, and you bargain for seafood, that's from Hoenn, which was not that in-depth, but cool world building, I thought. The fight against him was actually pretty damn hard and kicked my ass a bunch. Also, Kofu is cool, and I will defend him with my left. Wow, we are halfway through this, and there was one gym I like. Damn, what has Pokemon been all this time? Next is the normal gym, with the challenge being that you must talk to people around the town for the specific order. All I did was guess and I won. The normal gym was also pretty tough, and Larry is cool. I like you, Larry. Next is the ghost gym, whose gym challenge is to battle 3 rappers, and if you beat a Pokemon, you get a stat increase. Now, I don't like this idea in execution. On paper, it's a smart one, but what I would do is if you beat the opponent's Pokemon, they get the stat increase, not the other way around. But I have to admit, duel battles are the gym leader's thing, and I am okay with that. I still don't like rap as a genre, sorry, not sorry. Next is the second gym, where I lose my will to continue with these boring challenges. The gym challenge is that you must do this boring and easy rhythm game, and it gets old pretty quick. Gym battle was fun though. I quite like the gym battle. Oh, thank God we are at the ice gym, man. It took me less than 20 seconds to beat sledding. Yay, fun. I like the gym leader, Gersha. And she kicked my shit in, not gonna lie, but that's about it. But yeah, now we got the 8 gym badges, and we fight the Elite Four, who we meet every now and then in the past after a gym battle. We first fight Rika, a ground type Elite Four member, then Poppy, a literal child, a steel type Elite Four member, then Larry, one of the best gym leaders, a flying type Elite Four member, and finally a teacher I had never talked to who is a dragon type Elite Four member. I went over these peeps quickly because they were easy overall, I'm not gonna lie. Then we fight the champion Gita, who was actually quite challenging and was fun to fight. After we become champion rank, Namoda wanted to battle us, and she was a decent challenge because her Skeldridge Torch song is so fucking devastating and quite literally broken. Overall, I find the story of the game the least interesting and the overall weakest of the 4, since the gym challenges and most of the battles are not all that good or decent, but they are what you expect for Pokemon, so I can't complain that much. Starfall Street is one of the more interesting stories of the Pokemon series, I feel. You go to each Team Star base and try to take down the base leader. The overall gameplay of these sections is that you throw out 3 Pokemon to take out the base Pokemon. You need to defeat 30 of them to fight the base's leader. Not much goes on during the ambush because they're pretty mindless with a few heals every now and again. So I'll be commenting on every base and the order the game wants you to battle them and the story at each base. First, the Dark Crew leader, Giacomo. He uses a Poniard and the Snarmobile. The Poniard is nothing special with Metal Claw, Fury Cutter, and Aerial Ace. His Snarmobile is where it truly hits hard. Its ability is Intimidate, which lowers the user's attack stat, which depending on the Pokemon, you can spell out big trouble. It can use Snarl to lower the opponent's special attack stat. Metal Sound can lower the special defense stat, making moves like Snarl and Swift more devastating. Once you beat him, and you and Clavel, yeah, really cover name right there, learned that Giacomo was elected the president of the Narjana Academy Student Council, but the student council policies he proposed were so unobtrusive and strict that he lost all support, and when confronted, he says his team is his treasure. Second, the Fire Crew leader, Mela. She uses a Torkoal that starts the battle with Drought that can weaken any water type move, and it also has Clear Smog that can remove any stats you just put on your Pokemon. Her Snowmobile is deadly. It has speed boost, which means that the speed boost stat will increase every turn till it can't, and that will mean bad things because her Snowmobile also has Overheat, one of the most powerful fire type moves. The Screech can also be deadly with the Blazing Torch she has. She's probably the 3rd hardest star boss of them all. Once you beat her, you learn that she is responsible for getting the Stormmobiles powered up by evolving a large group of Charcadet. Currently, her sense of style isn't what she had when attending Narjana Academy. Mela developed her outside appearance and personality after some girls in the academy were jealous of how cute she was, which stopped them from picking on her, and when confronted, she will always treasure her memories with her team. Third, the Poison Crew leader, Atticus. He uses a Skuntank that comes with Toxic. Since Skuntank is a poison type, it will never miss, dangerous, and poison damage slowly gets worse every turn, so you want to heal it fast. Muck isn't really all that noteworthy, but his Reveroom is something. Ironhead and Sludge you would expect, but Assurance and Bulldoze can be scary. Assurance deals with psychic types and can do more damage after being hit, and Bulldoze deals with fire type of Pokemon and has a chance of lowering your speed stat. His Starmobile is also really strong. It has Toxic Debris, which means that when hit with a physical move, it can shower toxic spikes, which can be devastating. Brillaint is a powerful move, but can lower the speed stat, though Flame Charge mitigates it by training the speed stat. Smog and Noxious Torque are typical poison type moves with a chance to poison your Pokemon. I'd say he's the second hardest star leader to take down. Once you beat him, you learn that Atticus has an eye for fashion, having designed the costumes of all the squad bosses. He is highly regarded for his passion and technique in conceptualization and making unique fashion designs. While enrolled in the academy, Atticus was bullied for liking old-fashioned things. He says that Team Star is the one and only treasure he has when confronted. Fourthly, the fire crew leader, Ortega. She uses an Azumarill with huge power, which means her Aqua Tail, Play Rough, and Bounce do more power. It also has Tar, which could be a huge disadvantage to her team. Wigglytuff's whole thing is around Charm with the whole move and the ability Cute Charm. Dash Spun is not all that noteworthy, just don't hit it with a fire type move and you should be good. His Starmobile can be really tough. Its whole thing is confusion with magical torque, having a chance to confuse your opponent, and also having Confuse Ray. Spin Out is a good move with a terrible payoff like before, but Steel Roller mixed with Misty Terrain is devastating. I believe he is the hardest star leader of them all. Once you beat him, you learn that Ortega is short-tempered and prone to snide remark. He deeply cares about Team Star. He is also a skilled engineer and mechanic, building the 5 Starmobiles by himself. Ortega comes from a life of wealth. His family owns a major apparel company in Paldea. Despite this, he was bullied at the academy, so he bonded with the other Team Star bosses who were also bullied. He says that Team Star is the greatest treasure in his world when confronted. Finally, the fighting crew leader, Eerie. She uses heavy-hitting Pokemon, and there's really nothing much noteworthy here since the heavy-hitting Pokemon are easy to take down with their low defenses, meaning that they can be fainted easily. But her Starmobile is a fucking machine, both figuratively and literally. Chef Gear can make it go much faster with the increase in speed, which works well with Spin Out. Combat Torque can cause paralysis, and its ability Stamina can make it near impossible to take out. Aside from her Starmobile, her roster doesn't have much, and I would say she is ranked below Mela after you beat her. When learn that Eerie is the mentor and a sort of mother figure to Team Star. When Team Star was created 1.5 years prior to the beginning of your journey, she helped the other bosses train their Pokemon and acted as a mediator, or whatever it's called, when arguments broke out. The reason why she joined the team in the first place is due to the other students at Naranja Academy choosing Eerie as the target of their harassment and bullying due to their jealousy after she had become the new class queen. After beating her, she admits she felt she could take on anything, no matter her mood. It says that looking at her own badge makes her feel strong. Her friend Carbon tells you and Clive that she isn't the person she is today without Eerie, and asks to not take away their greatest treasure. After all the bosses are defeated, Cassiopeia reveals that she is the leader of all of Team Star, and invites you to meet her at the school courtyard at dark. In front of the school, you see Clive, who is actually Clavel. No, it wasn't so fucking obvious! He wants us to battle him to see if we are worthy to fight Cassiopeia. After you beat him in a battle, you then head on to the courtyard, where it was Penny the whole time. You battle her, and her team is a thing. It's all evolutions with all of them having baby doll eyes, which is a fine move, but nothing spectacular. The only time you need to be worried is when Sylveon is tetralized when Moonblast becomes more powerful, but that's about it. After you beat her, we learn that she thinks you and Clive were helping her with the operation. Clive then reveals to Penny he was Clavel and brings all of Team Star crew leaders to her. It tells her that he is sorry that he was unaware of the bullying that happened to them ever since he joined the academy. They then form the TARS Training Center, and the team rejoices. Penny then reveals that she hacked the Pokemon League to give you the LP for beating every base, which is pretty funny. She thanks the player for helping her save Team Star from being wrongfully expelled from the academy. She explains that she wants to repay the player and would be willing to help with any requests that may have. She bids the player farewell with a hasta la vista. Overall, this was quite a shock story-wise. I did not expect this in a Pokemon game after Black and White. While the bosses are quite fun and challenging at moments, and the story is intriguing, overall I think this was ambitious in the bases were pretty boring and didn't really save it from being a pretty mad part of the game, and the final battle company was kind of not good. But I enjoyed it for the story overall, and I did enjoy the bosses. Path of Legends is the best one story-wise, and it's no contest. You are looking for these Titan Pokemon that contain herbs that have strange properties. Now, there are 5 of these Herba Mysticas guarded by 5 Titans. The Stony Cliff Titan, the Open Sky Titan, the Lurking Steel Titan, the Quaking Earth Titan, and the False Dragon Titan. Let's go over each individual Titan and the story that happens after each Titan. The Stony Cliff Titan is Cloth. Now, Cloth has not much going for it. It has Vice Grip, Brick Break, and Block, but the Rock Tomb can be deadly since it can lower the speed of the opponent. Be careful around that. After you beat Cloth, you go inside to find the sweet Herba Mystica. Arvin makes a sandwich with it, and you give it to Koraidon, and it gets more power, making it able to dash. The Open Sky Titan is Bombardier. Bombardier is just like Cloth, but it doesn't have much going for it. It has Rock Throw, Wing Attack, and Pluck, though Torment will make it so you can't use the same move twice, so be careful of that, I guess. The easiest Titan to fight, I feel. After getting the better Herba Mystica, you can make a sandwich and give it to Koraidon, where he learns that he can swim across water, where you learn why Arvin is getting these herbs. His Mabostiff was badly damaged and never recovered. Nothing worked on him, not even a Pokemon Center. That's why Arvin is looking for Herba Mystica so that he can restore his Mabostiff to good health. And it seems to be working because Arvin says that his paws were ice cold and now they are warmed up a little. The Lurking Steel Titan is Orthworm. Orthworm has a little more going on than was with the previous one. He has Sandstorm, which can kick your ass if you aren't prepared for it. He also has Warp that does damage at the end of every turn. Orthworm also has incredible defenses, which makes him a tank. Not the hardest thing in the world, but can kick your ass if you aren't prepared. After getting the next Herba Mystica to Koraidon, he will know how to jump higher than ever. Giving it to Mabostiff, he is able to rough again. That's pretty cute, I'm not gonna lie. The Quaking Earth Titan is an unknown Pokemon called Great Tusk, who is from Area 0. Great Tusk is far more devastating than the others. It has amazing HP, attack, defenses. It is not a slouch in speed. He can wreck your team with some strong moves like Brick Break and Stomping Tantrum. After beating Great Tusk, you give the herb to Koraidon, who learns how to glide in the air, and after giving it to Mabostiff, he can see again, and I got a little choked up at this scene, I'm not gonna lie. The False Dragon Titan is Dondozo. Dondozo is an HP sponge with a lot of HP and defense. He has the move Odorage, which depending on the Tatsuji can raise a stat which can hurt, especially if it's a physical attack up with the moves he has like Aqua Tail or Order Up. After you beat Dondozo, it's actually Tatsugi, which is a weak Pokemon overall with high special attack, so just be careful with that. After getting the final herb, Koraidon learns to climb up walls and this. Professor Seda tells you to go to her lab in the lighthouse where you first meet Arvin. We learn that Seda needs our help in Area 0. Before you can go to Area 0, you need to battle Arvin to see if you are worthy of going into Area 0. His team is pretty good overall. His Cloyster can take advantage of Skill Egg with Rock Blast and Icable Spear, and that's pretty devastating even in competitive. Toedscruel has Spore, which is considered the best sleep move in the game, so best be careful with that or make sure to have an awakening or two. Gargantuar also has Stealth Rock, which is a great move as always, and Mabostiff is a heavy hitter, especially with moves like Crunch and Play Rough. After you beat Arvin, he says that we need a hacker and a powerful trainer to come with them if they are ever gonna reach Professor Zeta. Let's talk about the graphics of Pokemon Scarlet. I stand by the opinion that Let's Go Eevee is the best looking Pokemon Switch game in terms of textures, presentation, and a solid art direction. And slowly the Pokemon games have been going downhill in this category. And this game is probably the worst of them all. The texture quality is really low in this one, with them being blurry that can be in an N64 game. And not to mention all the dithering in small places. There were also textures that would just disappear for a split second and so many more. There is a reason this stuff has been covered all over the world when the game first launched. Now, what about the music? Is that any good? I don't know if I am alone in this, but I personally believe that when Pokemon started to release on the Switch, the music was slowly getting worse. So that might be because I think Pokemon music peaked with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I mean, have you heard Xenia's battle theme? In terms of Pokemon Scarlet, I think the music is fine overall. The one thing I can highlight is that I love every Team Star theme, from the Grunt, Space Leader, and Penny. They all sound like they came from Sonic Forces OST, and I love that OST. Aside from those, I'm not that big into the rest of the OST. I think the Mona's theme after the Pokemon League is really good and started to grow on me with time, but nothing that I would listen to. I think it's saying a lot that the gym leader battle theme isn't really all that good. I found it annoying by the third gym. I mean, the OST is an improvement over the other ones, but I'd rather listen to the music from the 3DS titles. Multiplayer is one of the core appeals of Pokemon and has been a staple since the very beginning with Red and Blue. This was something I heard a lot about, with the game crashing mostly during these parts. I thought it was going to happen during this part of recording, but fortunately I learned that Game Freak updated the game to fix that, though it caused other problems. So, you know, you win some, you lose some. So first we have raids, and these are actually pretty fun. I feel like with these ones they are more tense because you are actually on a time limit, and when they put you a shield on, you do so little damage, and it was tense in a fun way, I feel. There's also battling, which I was only able to do twice, but yeah, it's a staple Pokemon. I also noticed that if you are in Area 0 with someone with a copy of Pokemon Violet, you get some of the Violet exclusives found in Area 0, which I think is really cool, though it is weird that you can't see any other players in Area 0. But that's about it. I want to thank my friends Kibbs and Knack for playing multiplayer with me. Their links will be in the description. I don't think it's worth the hassle to pick up Pokemon for multiplayer when there are other more accessible options like Jackbox, Smash Bros, or Risk of Rain 2, but it's not a bad time. Now, this game is really controversial, like every Pokemon game after Let's Go Eevee. Now, what was some of the controversy of this game back when it released? Well, the game was not very well optimized, with slowdown everywhere and textures disappearing, shinings being so hard to distinguish that people with visual problems were having problems with fighting them, the XP share being forced on like in every other Switch Pokemon game, the new update not only making the world more empty so that it can run smoother, making a not optimized argument more valid, but also causing save save file corruption. That is all I am going to say on the controversy, because honestly, aside from these things, I just said it's all the same story you heard again and again. It's getting to the point that it's become a routine even. To fix the problem that Pokemon has had for a while is to make the Pokemon problem no longer keep doing this, which is something for the end. We will get to that, but first, we have to talk about the final story in the game. Okay, so after you complete Victory Road by defeating Nemona, take down Team Star by facing its leader Penny, and save my boss Stuff and battle Arven, you head straight to Area 0 with your pals to find Professor Seda. When you reach the bottom, you find an area containing all different types of Pokemon, crystals all over the place, and all new Pokemon that look like other Pokemon. Down here, we learn many things. We learn that these facilities were built over 87 years ago. These new looking Pokemon are Pokemon from the past that were brought over from a time machine, and that Koraidon is the past version of Celzar. Once you reach inside, you meet the professor, who is actually an AI. The real professor passed away after she protected Koraidon with her body. She wants us to deactivate the professor's time machine, but she warns us that if we try, she will attack us. It is time for the final battle. Professor Seda is our final battle, and she uses Pokemon from the past and doesn't seem to take that lightly at all. I lost the first time battling her, and it only took me till the second battle to defeat her Pokemon, which is a fun battle. After the battle, everyone comes in, and Arven questions if the AI is her mother. When the AI starts talking like she is his mother, that's when the time machine starts to activate, because we are a threat. It starts to activate and unlocks all of our Pokemon except for the AIs. The final battle is against the Paradise Protection Protocol that uses a Koraidon. Your Pokeballs don't work and we can't leave. That's when you send out your Koraidon. This battle is scripted, so I am not going to talk about the opposing Koraidon at all, but at least the music is pretty good. After you beat Koraidon, AI Seda tells us that we are great friends and some other mumbo jumbo stuff. That she says that she must travel to the past to stop the time machine. Arven says that even though the AI wasn't his mom, it felt like his mom was talking through the AI. The team then all leave Area 0 for a new adventure. Overall, I think this game is a slight improvement over Sword and Shield and the Gen 4 remakes, but I still think that every other game released in modern Pokemon is better than Scarlet. The story of this game is very intriguing, with Team Star's backstory and how they ended up where they are, and Arvin with his mother/father problems. The music is also better than the previous games since Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, with the Team Star and AI battle music being absolute bangers, and the multiplayer stuff is really solid. But aside from that, I can't say I enjoy this game. I think the gym challenges, while cool on paper, are not that good in execution. I don't like the Star Barrage since it doesn't really do much overall. Titan Pokemon are a joke to fight aside from maybe the Dragon Titan because of the fake out that was really funny. I think the final fight being scripted is a dumb move and this game runs like ass in certain areas, if not 90% of the game. This is the definition of biting off more than you can chew. I think that Game Freak would have been better off making a traditional Pokemon game than this one, especially with all the controversy and unfinished nature of it. While it is a step in the right direction, it's still not gonna fix the biggest problem with this franchise, the Pokemon Company itself. Since Pokemon is the biggest thing in the world, beating out Star Wars, Winnie the Pooh, and Hello Kitty, they need to keep up with the sales. So if you're pumping out a new mainline Pokemon game every 3 years, that's gonna lead to them feeling rushed as hell or as an unfinished mess. The funny thing is, Pokemon doesn't make most of its money off of the games. It makes most of its money off of the merchandise. Those plushes and figures you put on the shelf, those stickers you put in your notebook to make you feel like the cool kid on the playground, and those Pokemon cards you buy and put in a binder. That's the money maker, not the games. I don't understand why the Pokemon Company needs to rush these games out to market when they can reasonably just hold off for a year at the least. But who are we kidding? This isn't Supergiant Games who treats their employees like actual human beings, which is why they are the most sought after company to work at. Needless to say, I stand by what I said in my problems with Pokemon and Pokemon video. If Pokemon does something that intrigues me, I might pick it up secondhand. But at that moment, I'm no longer a kid. I have other games to play from franchises I respect more than Pokemon.